Here in front of me on the table is none other than the new Pixel 9a, and over here for reference I've actually got the Pixel 9 Pro XL, and we're just excited to have this thing in the office. It's Google's new entry-level, not quite flagship device, but at $499 it packs a bunch of really cool specs, and so let's just hop in the box and see how this thing feels. But before we hop into this particular box, I'd like to invite you to come check out our Chrome Unboxed Plus community. And over there, you're going to find a whole host of people who have joined and are in there discussing all sorts of things, from Chromebooks to Google products to phones just like this one. It's a community of just awesome people, and I think a lot of you watching a video like this would probably find some kindred spirits there. But additionally, you get ad-free access to ChromeUnbox.com. You get more access to Joe and myself, and to exclusive AMAs that we do from time to time with the Chrome OS team, and it's just $2 a month. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, head over to chromeunbox.com/join, and you can find out more details and get started. So the one that we got in is, what is the actual porcelain? That's what they're going with for the white variant. We didn't get any cases. We filled out the thing for cases, but we didn't get any, and that's okay. Generally speaking, you know, Google has a handful of colors on these. I think you've got like a kind of a pink and a blue and a white and a black. But I'm going to give you some of the specs, and I'm pulling up my personal phone here for reference, because honestly, guys, look, I'm a Chromebook guy. I'm a Chromebook reviewer. Like, if you put a Chromebook in front of me, I can probably rattle off every spec that thing contains. But when it comes to smartphones, I don't pay as much attention to all the finicky details, and I know a lot of you want to hear all those details. But to me, when it comes to something like a Pixel 9 Pro XL or even a Pixel 9a, the specs matter a whole lot less than the experience of using the device. However, I'm going to rattle off a few of these important things. So it's let's see, screen size is 6.3 inch, still being called an actual display. It's 1080p basically, with a little bit added width there, 20:9 aspect ratio, that kind of stuff. The screen, interestingly enough, goes from 60 to 120 hertz. So you're not getting the 1 to 120 hertz. So there's, you would think, a little bit less battery saving there, but this thing apparently is a battery beast. It does get up to 1800 nits. 2700 nits peak brightness if you're outside in the sun, 1,000,000:1 contrast ratio, HDR support, all that good stuff. So great looking screen on this thing. But then the battery is rated at 30 plus hours, 100 plus with the extreme battery savers if you turn everything off. But it's a 5100 milliamp hour battery. That's a massive cell inside of a phone this size. 8 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs of storage. There's an option for 256, and it also comes with the same Tensor G4 processor that's in this phone right here. And I want to say that at this point right now, the Pro is a $1,200 phone. So for $700 less, you're still getting the Tensor G4, which is pretty awesome. And then I wanted to get the rear camera specs here for you. 48 megapixel wide, 13 megapixel ultra wide. So you get your 2 sensors there, and then all the other, software based camera tricks that Pixel devices do. Let's see if there's anything else. 82 degrees of view on the wide camera. Ultra wide is 120 degrees, and then on your front camera you're getting 13 megapixels with a 96 degree field of view. Any other things? I mean, there's a bajillion specs here. Obviously, it'll do 4K 60, 1080p 60 with a digital zoom of up to 5x on video. Yeah, so you get it. The point is here, this device is $499 MSRP all day, every day. It doesn't require any trade-ins or deals or any of that kind of stuff. And you're getting a lot in this box for that particular price point. So a lot of this comes down to, it's not a question of whether or not this phone is going to perform well. I mean, it's got 8 gigs of RAM and the Tensor G4. So it's not that far off from what you get in Google's more premium phones. It's really about, how does it feel in the hand? Like, what does it look like? How does it, perform out in daylight and all that kind of stuff? And obviously that kind of requires a little bit more of a review to answer. But I can answer some of the stuff about how it feels in the hand and all that kind of stuff, because we know it doesn't have a glass back. We've at least seen that part of it. So that's one kind of downgrade, but it's got metal rails. Obviously it's got a nice screen. Yeah, this feels great. It definitely feels, a little less substantial. I mean, that's a much bigger phone, obviously, too. But I would assume if I put the Pixel 9 Pro in my hands, it would feel a little bit more weighty, just because the back of those phones is glass. Look at Joe's got that. Boom. It's not that different, actually. Here, let me take the case off. Make sure I'm apples to apples here. Yeah, I bet if I handed this to somebody with their eyes closed and they didn't feel up and feel the big camera notch there, they would mistake that one for the other. We'll talk about that camera notch here in just a second. But overall, I've already gotten fingerprints all over this thing. Overall, it just it feels nice. It feels good in the hand. And obviously, let's talk about that camera real quick. That's one of the most notable changes that Google has made. Slide this stuff out of the way and see, kind of from the side there. You can see the massive plateau you get on the other Pixel devices, and they've kind of gone away from it here. And I've heard some criticism of this move, that it makes it look less iconic. But I don't know, there's just something really nice about not having a huge camera hump on your phone. It's something we've gotten used to over the last few years, but it's nice to, it's not quite flush. I mean, it's maybe like a millimeter above the back of the phone. And I'll say that the kind of frosted plastic back here, you can tell it's not, you can do this kind of thing and feel that it's not glass for sure, but it feels nice. And most people put a case on their phone. But I'm a sucker for these kind of matte finish rails around the sides. And ultimately, I mean, it's just as thin as the other Pixel phones too. So you're not adding a ton of bulk to get that bigger battery. You're not adding a ton of bulk to get the camera hump under control. And so those are some nice benefits here. Obviously, you got a speaker port down at the bottom, SIM card, USB Type-C. Your power and volume rocker is over here on the side, like you would expect on a Pixel phone. Another mic jack up there. And then just some brakes here for the antennas and all that kind of stuff. So let me get this thing powered on just a second and get past the initial setup screens real fast. And we'll take a look at this screen and maybe see how the speakers perform too. All right, so we're all logged in, and I tested a couple things while we were off camera, and I'm already pretty impressed. So first thing is speakers. I'm going to give you a sample of one of our videos so you can just kind of hear the robustness. I've got a couple, let's see, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to go 4 notches down from top. So here's this. Sensors, the N150 and N250, and those numbers probably sound familiar because for a couple years now we've had the N100 and N2. Okay, then we're going to do the same thing on the 9 Pro. 2, 3, 4. The RAM, whereas this new device from Asus, I think this is the CM12, their latest. I don't really hear any difference whatsoever. Once again, I think this is a situation where I could hand both of these phones to someone with a blindfold on, listen to both, and they would have a very hard time telling the difference between the two. So speakers sound really good. I'll say the haptic feedback, while I was just kind of doing some of the setup stuff and getting logged into a couple things, feels really, really good. I think Google always does a great job of that kind of stuff. And then, let's see, I'm going to put them right here like that. This is one notable thing you can obviously tell a difference in when we start looking at bezels. And the reason I'm comparing these two is they're just similar size. So I didn't want to compare the speakers on the 9A against the Pro XL. Just it's bigger. There could be bigger speakers in here and make it sound better, but it sounds really good. But there are noticeable bezels here. And whether or not Google did this like on purpose, is obviously a question. They have to decide that stuff for themselves. But, you want your premium phones to look a little more premium. That's accomplished through some smaller bezels on the 9 Pro. But are these bezels big enough that you're going to look at them and be mortified by them in public or anything? No, I had to get the case off of Joe's phone and look at them to make sure. Because, they're there, but immediately you just kind of stop recognizing them. So not really an issue there either. So the one other thing I wanted to do during this is, because again, when we talk about performance of this device, it's going to be right on par with the other Pixels. Like, that's the one thing that's really cool about Google's A series phones, is that they don't skimp on a bunch of stuff. Like, you don't have to worry about that stuff. So I do enjoy that. So there's a bunch of stuff over here. So I'm just going to shoot. I've got a drink, some random camera stuff. So I'm going to take that photo there. So I'm going to zoom in. Okay, yeah. And again, like the sensors in this phone aren't as good as the Pro line. They're just not. It's not as good a hardware. But Google has done so well with lower end hardware in their cameras for so long. It's just not a problem. We can stitch this photo into the video, but I mean, so much detail. Like, I can read stuff on the desk back there. Like, I can read stuff on our light. I mean, once again, I mean, I didn't doubt for a second that the camera would look good, but it looks stellar. And not surprising there. Let's look at the selfie camera real quick. We'll flip that around. And granted, this is really good lighting. But I mean, you can see wild amounts of detail here. Look at all my gray hairs. Eyebrows, all that kind of stuff. I'm not getting too close. Nobody wants to see me up that close except my wife. But yeah, so impressive, just from the jump at least. Impressive looking camera. Wild battery life, obviously here. Great performance. A very solid feeling phone. A very attractive phone, I would have to say. Still just as thin as everything else in the Pixel lineup. So, I don't know. Once again, I find myself really intrigued by the 9A. And the cool part is, this year, Google's figured out their pricing in such a way that it shouldn't be such a conundrum. Like last year with the 8A, the Pixel 8 kept dropping down in price so much that it would be cheaper than the 8A. I don't think that's going to happen, because right now I think we're at like $1,200 and $1,100, I think, on the Pros is where it's sitting right now. And then $900 for the Pixel 9. And then... or it's $800, I think, maybe $799 for the Pixel 9. But then it drops all the way down to $500 for this one. If they'll keep that price gap there, and if the 9's going to come down, the A needs to come down a little bit too, then this becomes the compelling Pixel phone in 2025 for people to go buy. That's just the end statement there. If you're not looking for a massive phone, if you're okay with kind of a standard 6.3, 6.4 inch phone, solid build quality, great camera, gorgeous looking screen, great speakers, great haptic feedback, plenty of storage, and a massive battery. It seems like an absolute win here. It's a device that hopefully, if things play out the way I'd like them to, I'll be able to throw my SIM card in and spend just a few days using it. We've got a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes right now, so I don't know when exactly that will happen. I would like to do it, but I can tell you from this initial first hands-on here that this is an impressive phone for $500, and I would likely say in the Android world, in this kind of price point, it'd be hard for me to imagine a phone that would beat this, because now you're getting all of the best of Google's Gemini and AI and all their helpful stuff that they do just for Pixel phones. And it doesn't matter that you don't have the Pro. Like, you're going to get all of those Pixel drops and all of those Pixel features. And that's a really, really cool thing at this kind of price point. But guys, that's it for this one. If you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up, head down there, hit that subscribe button, and be sure to ring the notification icon as well if you'd like to be alerted when we make future videos just like this one. Until next time, we'll see you.